This is News Today with WDW News Today. I'm Tom Corliss of WDWNT.com. Please like this video, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell to make sure that you never miss the latest from the Disney theme parks all around the world. Coming up in a moment, the news for January 29th, 2026. But first, a couple of reminders. First of all, we are having a special farewell event for Rock and Roller Coaster. It's called the Sweet Emotional Farewell Tour. It's taking place February 28th at the Embassy Suites just down the road, starring several of the Imagineers who made Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith happen, and more guests hopefully to be announced very soon. But get your tickets now to be a part of that. We also have a discounted room block available if you'd like to stay right there where the event is. More information can be found at rockandfarewell.com. We're also selling streaming tickets for this event. They're only discounted until the end of this month. So if you don't buy your streaming ticket before the end of January, the price is going to go up on February 1st. So get your streaming ticket so you can watch it from home right now. Again, rockandfarewell.com. Before we get to the show today, great way to support everything we're doing here at WDWNT is to shop with Carousel of Products at carouselofproducts.com. As I told you the other day, we only have a handful of these left. I think there's 8 or 9 left at this point, if I can open it. This is our collector's box of the Sunny Eclipse plush, which says, "Whoa, hello, Space Angels." That's, of course, how he opens his set at the Starlight Cafe. It comes with that fantastic Intergalactic Lounge Singer plush, of course, but also inside this box you get several additional pieces, which include the special limited edition of 150 30th anniversary Groovin' with Sunny Eclipse pin. And then you get a couple of exclusive stickers and a letter, if I can grab them out. There's this special letter from Sunny Eclipse to you. And then last but not least are 2 very special stickers celebrating 30 years of Sunny Eclipse at Cosmic Rays Starlight Cafe in the Starlight Lounge. Get yours now, carouselproducts.com. I'm going to box him back up and talk about a few other quick things. There we go. Get out of the way, Sonny. That's enough. All right. Over here, I forgot to put the pin in. Oh, well. I want to mention this shirt. We have very few left, and obviously DINOSAUR closes forever on Sunday. This is our I Counted Down to Extinction t-shirt, and when these shirts go extinct, that's it. They're done. We're not making them again. So this is your last chance to get this shirt, which has this wonderful reference to the Walt Disney Imagineering Easter egg in the load area that we've embellished upon, and this fantastic art as well. Last chance. The pin set sold out. The LE250 pin set is gone. Not getting those ever again. So don't miss out on the shirt as well. And while we're talking about DINOSAUR, but while we're talking about Rock and Roller Coaster, I want to mention our Pin and Magnet of the Month program, because this is the last show I get to mention this before the art changes. Our February Magnet and Pin will debut on February 1st. So if you want to join and get this as your first magnet, of course we have Ileana Douglas as the manager and Ken Marino as the, I guess he's just like a booth technician. I don't know what he's supposed to. Sound tech? I don't know what he is, but he's there. So 2 original characters from Rock and Roller Coaster to celebrate the farewell of the attraction. Of course, we also have it in pin form. It is the very first in the Pin of the Month collection officially. But of course, we kicked off that collection with the Pin of the Month mystery box, which includes the 7 first magnet designs we unleashed last year. And so this is the only way to get any of those first 7 designs. You get 2 in a box for $22.99. It is a mystery. WIGS member discounts apply for this, not for your monthly memberships though. But as always, a reminder for the magnet and the pin, if you join for the whole year, it is cheaper than if you join month to month. And we're actually not offering month to month on the pins. So keep that in mind. Again, all this and more at carouselproducts.com. That's the business. Now the fun's just ahead. That's a line from Rock and Roller Coaster, by the way. Either way, let's begin. Walt Disney World has sent cease and desist letters to several unauthorized third-party businesses who operated at the resort, forcing their businesses to change their operations. The third-party operators include private photographers, personal chefs, stylists, hotel room decorators, and more. Many come from the Ear for Each Other Facebook group, which began in late 2020 with a mission to provide a space where furloughed cast members could showcase their side hustles and evolve to support dozens of small local businesses. Personal chef Cali King Cuisine shared a post with an image of the cease and desist letter on Facebook. He wrote, Well, the day has come. I said years ago I would never have issues cooking at Disney because I'm a former employee. I'm not harming their business. I never talk down on them, and I never use them to get business. I was highlighting the rooms I stayed in. I was only helping them because of a service they canceled. So from now on, Cali King Cuisine is no longer permitted to cook at Disney. I've officially been flagged on their radar. I will now be making accommodations for anyone that is staying there and still wants to enjoy my food. I have an Airbnb close to the parks I can schedule for dinners. Everyone that is already booked will be contacted. Thank y'all for all the business I've received over the years. I would never be here if it wasn't for being furloughed by the richest company in the world and using them to catapult my career and having the support of people from all across the world. This isn't goodbye, but see you soon. Book me for your Airbnb or home for now. The letter comes from Linda Reed, the Vice President of Walt Disney World Security. It states, for the safety of our guests and cast members, the Walt Disney World Resort property rules do not allow unauthorized commercial activities, and we must ask that you immediately discontinue providing these services at the Walt Disney World Resort, including at the resort hotels, theme parks, water parks, and Disney Springs. The cease and desist letter instructs Cali King Cuisine to remove all Disney-related advertisements and advises that offering services in the future could result in being trespassed and potential legal action. Meanwhile, photographer Natalie Schlomeyer said in a Facebook post, third-party photographers are no longer allowed to shoot at the Disney resorts. I was holding out hope until I heard it firsthand, but it seems that my days of shooting at the Disney hotels are over. To say I'm heartbroken is an understatement. I'm utterly devastated. I love what I did. I loved capturing your memories and milestones on your vacations. And for what it's worth, I had permission from multiple resort managers that I was allowed to photograph there as a professional. I even had some managers go out of their way to help make a crying kid laugh or a baby look towards the camera. And during every shoot at the hotels, I felt supported and not in any way a nuisance. I don't know for sure the reasoning behind this move. Their PhotoPass team and Fine Art Photography do not offer portrait sessions at the hotels, so I was in no way taking business from them. In fact, I've had clients fly to Disney specifically for photo sessions with me, so while it was a drop in the bucket of a billion-dollar corporation, I did bring them some money. What hurts the most is that so far the cease and desist letters seem to have hit a majority of the vendors in the Ear for Each Other group, which was started after a bunch of cast members were furloughed or let go during COVID. That's where we'd post our side hustles so other cast members or vacationers looking to support former or furloughed cast members could find various services, knowing they were helping a small business or of someone who no longer had a job. That's where 90% of my business came from. She went on to say she will remain a photographer in Central Florida, including offering sessions inside Universal Orlando Resort theme parks because Universal is super chill about it and doesn't mind us third-party riffraff. And noted that Universal's own photographers are employed by the third-party company Color Vision. I will warn her. They'll come for you too. If you think Universal and Disney are not different, let's throw that out the window. I hate that. They are both mega corporations. There is very little delineation, except I think one is higher quality, between the two. And I promise you, the day Universal decides to sell the service, they will throw you out. I promise you that. Anyway, the Walt Disney World property rules these third-party vendors are violating include the sale of goods or services or the display of goods or services unless prior written approval has been obtained, unauthorized events, speeches, or use of any flag, banner, sign, or other material for commercial purposes or as part of a demonstration, photography, videotaping, or recording of any kind, or otherwise engaging in any activity for unapproved commercial purposes. Look out, everyone in this community. Unauthorized solicitations of any kind, whether commercial, religious, educational, or otherwise, or conducting any unauthorized commercial activities, including solicitations of money or other contributions or donations. Meanwhile, in late 2023, Disney banned or trespassed several third-party tour guides for similar reasons. That's the one that made the most sense to me, the tour guides, because Disney sells tour services, and that's always been a sticking point for them, tours, always. So totally, I didn't understand why they let them get away with it for so long. On the other hand, these two specific businesses we just talked about are offering something that Disney does not. In that case, I kind of wonder, in the case of the chef, is that terribly different from someone at a hotel ordering DoorDash? They've still ordered food from off property, and you're not making food sales that way. So how is the chef coming to the room different? That I don't understand. I mean, in his marketing, maybe he just needs to change his marketing. So maybe that's the problem, is the marketing just had too much Disney in it. That could have angered them. For the photography, I have to wonder if they don't offer that specific service at the hotels, why they would stop these people, but maybe they're going to start that service. Look, I think what this community in total did in 2020 in COVID, when this entire industry was shut down, was admirable. I love the way this community came together. Everything that happened with the cast member pantry, which I'm so proud of, the work we were able to do with them, where we raised, man, did we raise, I want to say, in one single show, we raised $50,000 or more for cast member pantry. I don't remember the number off the top of my head. But all that kind of stuff that happened in 2020, that cast community, to make sure people could get by, was really wonderful to see. It was really uplifting and heartwarming. Now the year is 2026, and things are getting back into full swing. And to be honest, if you work in the theme park industry or worked in the theme park industry and wanted to get back into it, I think those opportunities exist right now. We are in a moment of mass expansion, and not only at Disney, at Universal, and in the themed entertainment industry beyond in this town and the outlying areas. So I would guess that's why Disney's like, oh, look, at any point, same is true of this business where we go and film things in the park and such. At the end of the day, it's for commercial use. Disney could tomorrow decide all of us are done. That could happen. I think there's a number of reasons why over the years they've decided not to do that. But I think inevitably when you work within the confines of Walt Disney World as a third party that's not working in step with Disney, and an authorized third party, if you will, this risk always presents itself. And I think I like to take the chef hat, which makes total sense. It's inevitable. You had a good run, but the company that owns the land has decided they don't want you there, and there's not really anything you can do. As opposed to a photographer, which is a little more sassy. It's like, at the same time, you're on there, you've made money on their property. And I don't doubt people have booked hotel rooms because of your service. And I think it's wonderful that the cast members at the resorts were helping you coordinate and make a wonderful experience for those guests. But what you have to separate, and what I've always said you have to separate, is those frontline cast members. Those frontline cast members who are the real magic of Walt Disney World have to be separated when you think of the Walt Disney Company from the company part, which is the mega corporation. The mega corporation wants to make money. That's its goal. And what these people want to do, they want a paycheck, obviously, but they also, I would dare say 90% or more of people who are cast members at Walt Disney World took the job not because it pays great, not necessarily because of the benefits, but really because they are true believers like you and me. They believe in the place and what it stands for, and really just want to give the same magic to guests that were given to them when they were guests. And these people are always admirable and wonderful. The problems always arise from the business side of the Walt Disney Company. And I think I've been emotionally, mentally healthier being able to separate that and understand, the beast is what it is, but inside the belly of that beast, somehow, there is still a very artistic, very caring company, because there are so many thousands of people within that company who are true believers, again, like you and me, in what Walt Disney believed in, and that guest experience, and that give the consumer everything you possibly can. There are enough people still in the Walt Disney Company that believe in that it'll continue to be worth fighting for. No matter what executives are at the top, no matter what business decisions are made, there will always, as long as we keep fighting for what we've been told the heart of the Walt Disney Company is, it will continue to exist. Not everything will be perfect because of that continuous struggle between guests, caring about the guest and wanting to take all their money. But we'll just keep fighting the good fight then. Work has begun on the Cinderella Castle repainting project at the Magic Kingdom. The project will be completed over the course of 2026. Part of the castle's pink top half has been repainted with a light gray. We think this is a primer coat. Doesn't look like the final coat, but either way, the process has most definitely begun. Of course, Cinderella Castle received the current pink color scheme in preparation for the park's 50th anniversary in 2021. It blended very well with the gold and such the iridescent decorations that went on the castle. But unfortunately, once the 50th was over, they kept that color scheme. But Disney did announce last summer that the castle would be restored in a way to its classic colors of gray and light blue. And so now that process has begun. With that process started, the Magic Kingdom Welcome Show has been modified due to that repainting. The show stopped including fireworks earlier this month. Performance times are no longer listed on the Walt Disney World calendar, but the Let the Magic Begin music still plays. So essentially, it's not even a show anymore. It's just a musical moment. Then in the evenings at the Magic Kingdom, the Happily Ever After Nighttime Fireworks Spectacular has been slightly modified as well. The show's fireworks, pyrotechnics, and projections all remain intact. However, the show is not currently using lasers. So the lasers are gone from the show for the time being. I tend to think once the painting continues, they're going to have to modify some of the pyro. There is pyro that shoots off of the actual building of the castle. And I would suspect when they start painting the sections where that pyro launches from, it's going to need to move or go away for a bit. We'll keep our eyes on it. But if you want to see any of these modified shows, we filmed them all, and they're on our WDWNT POV channel. So you can watch Let the Magic Begin, Happily Ever After. And in fact, a slightly modified version of Mickey's Royal Friendship Fair is happening as well. But all three of those now available for your viewing pleasure on one of our newest channels. Work continues as crews install additional scaffolding at the Haunted Mansion of the Magic Kingdom. Recently, multiple permits were filed to work on the mansion. First, the lawn was cleared of shrubs and trees, and then the scaffolding went up in the Q's graveyard. The scaffolding covered in green scrim was installed for work on the building's facade, and more was added just a few days later. But just a few days ago, scaffolding with scrim was installed just to the left of the wraparound veranda. Now, as you can see, the scaffolding has expanded outwards and covers nearly the entire left side of the mansion's facade. From the front of the mansion, you could see just some of the second story peeking out from over the scaffolding. For reference, here's what the scaffolding looked like a few days ago. The rumor here is this is purely because more of the left side of the facade is now going to be visible in the park. The park is expanding north, and by expanding north, guests are going to be walking in places they weren't walking before. There will be new sight lines, and part of those sight lines will impact the mansion. I don't know how much the facade is the problem. I think it's the show building, because I know there are parts of Magic Kingdom, once you get out past, even from Tom Sawyer Island, it was a problem sometimes. But when you get out towards the back and by Big Thunder, between Big Thunder and Mansion, there were definitely some spots where you could clearly see that Haunted Mansion show building. I wonder if this is going to be to cover that up a bit, or is it just to rework some of the mansion facade in preparation for queue changes. We'll have to wait and see, but either way, it's something related to this expansion. I shouldn't say expansion of the park, not a Frontierland. Of course, reimagining a Frontierland with Piston Peak National Park and an overall expansion of the park, which will include the Villains Land out beyond this area. Fans of Epcot's imaginative Purple Dragon Figment have another piece to add to their collection. There's now a movable Figment PopSocket available. The PopSocket is $34.99. It shows Figment in a flying pose, and behind him is a color wheel. And this spins around too. Figment can spin on here as if he's navigating the color wheel. We spotted this PopSocket at the Creation Shop in Epcot. The bassist of Aerosmith, Tom Hamilton, and his new band Close Enemies visited Rock and Roller Coaster before its imminent closure in March. The band features Hamilton's longtime bass tech Trace Foster, guitarist Peter Stroud, drummer Tony Brock, and vocalist Chase Hampton, who is, by the way, a former Mickey Mouse Club Mouseketeer. Fun fact. He's pictured in this photo with Close Enemies and twin brother rock band Kaminar, who is opening for them while they're on tour. They visited on January 27th to say a final farewell before the ride closes in March to become Rock and Roller Coaster starring the Muppets. Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith will close on March 2nd, 2026. And of course, as part of that closing weekend, we will be presenting our event. Crew members are removing prop pipes from Gonzo's Royal Flush at Disney's Hollywood Studios. The building houses restrooms in the former Muppets Courtyard, soon to be Monstropolis. On Wednesday morning, we saw a pair of crew members in a lift working on a pipe above the main entrance to the restrooms. Other pieces of pipes have already been removed. The Gonzo's Royal Flush sign was removed a month ago. Within a few minutes, the crew members had successfully removed part of the large pipe. For reference, here's what that facade used to look like. The pipes were part of the Monstropolis concept art, but were green instead of silver. Obviously, things are subject to change from concept art to completion. We still don't know what this building is going to be. I would believe it's going to remain a quick service restaurant because Pizza Rizzo, they spent a ton of money on that, and that was only 11, 12 years ago, something like that. They built out that patio upstairs, just spent a ton of money there. So I tend to think it will remain a counter service. We still don't know what it will be. Obviously, I don't think they're ripping out restrooms. Those restrooms will become Monstropolis restrooms. The soundstage housing The Little Mermaid, a musical adventure at Hollywood Studios, has been fully repainted to match the rest of the updates to Animation Courtyard. The Courtyard closed last fall to be reimagined into the Walt Disney Studios lot. The soundstage was painted in shades of blue several years ago during a reimagining of the park, but now the walls are light beige and the corner columns are a darker color, just as they used to be when the park opened. They look like actual Disney soundstages now. The wall facing the Courtyard was painted in November, as was the Disney Junior soundstage, and work began on the outer wall facing the front of the park last week, but it has now been completed. Very excited about this. I love this park. I have a lot of nostalgia for this park, and this tickles that, or scratches that itch, if you will. The Little Mermaid, a musical adventure, remains open during all of this work. The rest of the Courtyard will open in phases next summer. Sometime earlier in the summer, we'll get that Mickey Mouse Clubhouse live show, and then later in the summer, the brand new Magic of Disney animation. This program is brought to you by our official travel agent sponsor, Be Our Guest Vacations. If you want to book your trip for this summer, they're who you want to contact. Your dream vacation begins with Be Our Guest Vacations and their concierge team of expert vacation planners. Head on over to wwnt.travel, and their team will design your next magical vacation, from the Walt Disney World and Disneyland Resorts to Disney Cruise Line to Adventures by Disney and more. And the best part is their concierge services are 100% free. So book today. Before it permanently closes this weekend, Dinosaur at Disney's Animal Kingdom is seeing its longest wait times in a very long time. In fact, it was the longest wait time in the park at one point this week. Avatar Flight of Passage typically holds that honor. Sometimes Navi River Journey, the Safari, or other rides will have that honor as well. But typically those are all above the Dinosaur wait time. But at 2 p.m. on Tuesday, January 27th, Dinosaur had a 50-minute wait, while Flight of Passage had a 40, and Navi River Journey had a 45. Everest was at 35, by the way. I fully expect this weekend to be a disaster. A lot of people are going to go say goodbye to Dinosaur. I expect multi-hour waits. I will tell you, though, obviously, we have heard the weather this weekend will not be great. It may be greater than some other parts of the country, but I've heard Sunday morning, possibly it will feel like 7 degrees. Yeah, 7. 7 degrees Sunday morning, that final day of Dinosaur. So bundle up, make sure you keep warm. I know it'll be warm inside. Those asteroids are nice and hot, but that extended queue at Dinosaur, by the way, is shaded, so the sunlight doesn't get through there very much. So it's going to be nice and cold out there. Bundle up, folks, if you're heading out for Dinosaur. Meanwhile, it's worth noting that Disney PhotoPass photographers are stationed outside of Dinosaur as we get close to the ride's imminent extinction. So if you do want that photo in front of the building, I would suggest go early. I would guess as the days progress this weekend, that line will get longer and longer. And Sunday, that line will be very, very long for a professional grade PhotoPass picture in front of the Dinosaur building, the Dino Institute, if you will. So just keep that in mind. I also want to mention real quick, we are going to have a History of Dinosaur video coming out this weekend on our Diz Parchive. At Diz Parchive is how you find the channel, but the Parchive is what we call it. That is our Disney Parks History channel we just launched in the last month. Make sure you go check out that video later this weekend. If you subscribe, you'll know exactly when it comes out. Disney has announced the full menu with prices and has moved the opening date earlier for the Harambe Market. Previously set to reopen on March 1st, Harambe Market will now reopen on Thursday, February 5th. This is just a few days after the closure of Restaurantosaurus. Harambe Market will take over as the park's hamburger and chicken nugget restaurant because of the closure of Restaurantosaurus. Don't know if that's going to be permanent or not. Is that a forever thing? We don't know. Here's what will be on that menu. There's the Kubwa cookie for $5.29, topped with chocolate cream cookies, potato chips, M&M's milk chocolate candies, and dulce de leche. That sounds wild. Entrees include the third-pound Angus bacon cheeseburger for $13.99. They will have chicken strips with French fries for $10.99. There's also a harissa chicken wrap for $10.99. There's also a third-pound Angus cheeseburger without the bacon for $13.29 with fries. You can also get a side of French fries for $5.49. The kids' meals will include a cheeseburger meal for $7.49, a chicken strips meal for $8.99, a PB&J Uncrustable meal for $7.29. Meanwhile, Harambe Market's rice bowls have moved over to the Kusafiri Coffee and Bakery, Shop and Bakery, which is now open for lunch if you missed that menu. Walt Disney World has its first ever Disney Parks trading pin inspired by Bluey a few months before the character arrives at the resort. The Bluey and Bingo pin retails for $14.99. We found this at Disney Springs, but we expect it to be available all over the resort very soon. During the all-new 70 Years of Favorites Disneyland After Dark event, guests can enjoy Sounds of Magic, a new serenade featuring songs from past Disneyland shows. Sounds of Magic is a riverfront serenade featuring vocalists who perform favorite songs from those past entertainment offerings. The performers will float down the rivers of America on a raft multiple times throughout the night, singing tunes from various decades of Disneyland entertainment, including Animazement the Musical, Tiana's Showboat Jubilee, Frozen Live at the Hyperion, and the Lion King Celebration Parade. The 70 Years of Favorites dates are Tuesday, March 3rd and Thursday, March 5th. Tickets are still available somehow for both of those nights. Entertainment will also include swing dancing at the Royal Theater in Fantasyland, a throwback to Carnation Plaza Gardens, the Videopolis Dance Party at Tomorrowland Terrace, not in, where Videopolis was, line dancing at the Golden Horseshoe, stepping in time at a fond tribute to the Woody's Roundup in the late 90s and early 2000s. Sentimental photo opportunities will be staged throughout the park, including those for the Mad Tea Party. You may remember that from its run at DCA. The Main Street Electrical Parade, and Club Buzz. That's a real deep cut, that one. As well as some favorite attractions, so get ready to strike a pose. You can also reminisce with characters such as long-lost friends from Disney Afternoon, Mother and Father from the Carousel of Progress, Merlin, Flick and Ada from A Bug's Land, and the Phantasmic Monkeys. There will even be new food and beverage with nods to the past, including a mushroom Philly toasted sandwich, which is plant-based, and a maple bacon cinnamon roll at the Jolly Holiday Bakery Cafe. There's a Birria mac and cheese bread bowl at Refreshment Corner, a Gaston brew at the Red Rose Tavern, plus there'll be a new specialty item available at River Bell Terrace, a blackened New York steak and prawns. Reservations are recommended for that table service restaurant or any of the table service restaurants during that event. I'm so sad we can't make it out to this. I'm heartbroken because Flower and Garden starts that week. Eden, our Disneyland reporter, will be there to bring it all to you, but I'm still real sad. I wanted to go. Oh well, can't go to everything. She's penny proud, she's cute, and she's loud, and she's coming to Disney Channel night. For the first time ever, guests can meet Penny at the parks. Disney announced on Instagram today that Penny Proud from the Proud family will be meeting at Disneyland After Dark Disney Channel night. Guests will also be able to meet other fan favorites such as Kim Possible and Lilo and Stitch. The After Hours event is scheduled for April 12th, 14th, and 16th. Tickets go on sale soon. Inspire Magic Key pre-sales are February 3rd, all other Magic Keys February 4th, and general public on February 5th. It's a Small World holiday has now closed as of January 26, 2026 at Disneyland, and regular It's a Small World will be back hopefully soon. That being said, the Disneyland calendar has no times listed for it into March, so we don't have that reopening date just yet. So stay tuned. We'll let you know when It's a Small World will be back at Disneyland Park. The collapsing bridge effect has returned to Indiana Jones Adventure Temple of the Forbidden Eye at Disneyland. The effect has been broken or inactive for many years. When the Indiana Jones ride is working properly, ride vehicles pause in the center of the rope bridge in front of the face of Mara that's sort of crumbling, and guests feel like the bridge is starting to collapse under them based on the movement of the EMV before the vehicle takes off again. The bridge itself doesn't actually move. It's a structure that can't move, but the effect was accomplished thanks to the vehicle's hydraulics and then the ropes on the side of the bridge that would appear to drop. For a long time, those ropes have not moved, but now once again, the ropes are moving, enhancing the feeling that maybe the bridge might give way. We went and confirmed the effect was working on Monday. We have a full video ride-through of Indiana Jones in its current state, again on our WDWNT POV channel. Go check that out. This is awesome. This is a wonderful thing to see. I love seeing long broken effects return. That means somebody cares. And as long as somebody cares, I will continue to sit in this chair and at this desk. It warms the heart to see things like this return to rides. And we need to see more of this at Walt Disney World for sure. There are so many broken or turned off effects across the parks. More of this, please. Disneyland Paris has released an updated map of Disney Adventure World. It's more detailed than the previous maps. It's kind of the real world map. This is probably what will be on printed offerings and as well in the Disneyland Paris app, we would assume. The updated map features all the lands that are currently open or will open soon, that including World Premiere Plaza, Avengers Campus, Adventure Way, World of Frozen, and Worlds of Pixar. The new map does not include the future Pride Lands themed area, which was on the last sort of teaser map, they did put Pride Lands in there. But this map, accurate to, I would dare say, the grand opening, which will be on March 29th of 2026. Grand opening of World of Frozen, Adventure Way, and Adventure Bay. According to new permits at Disneyland Paris, the Plaza Gardens restaurant on Main Street is scheduled to close for unknown work. In a post from Instagram user DLP Works, recent permits for Disneyland Paris suggest that the Plaza restaurant will close as of March 31st. The exact purpose of the closure is not officially announced, nor the length of time. However, according to DLP Works, the details of the permit suggest intensive refurbishment efforts and will include demolition and new construction entirely. The combined work during the closure period may take a full year or longer to complete. The Post also notes that the closure will strategically align with the opening of the new Regal View Restaurant and Lounge on March 29th, a new character dining venue that will be in Disney Adventure World on Adventure Way and Adventure Bay. I will say this, we just talked about the passing of Eddie Sato. Eddie, a tremendously talented Imagineer, the head honcho, the man in charge of creating that entire Main Street at Disneyland Paris, led an incredibly talented team. And they just did a perfect job. And so it is always worrisome when Disneyland Paris is going to touch that Main Street. We've seen some things in the past that hurt the heart. I'm glad there were rumors and rumblings for a long time that the barber shop was going to go away and be moved, and obviously we lose all that original charm of what Eddie and the team had done. Thankfully that stayed. I have great faith in the current regime of Imagineers at Disneyland Paris. And I say that because the candy shop on Main Street a couple months ago went through a refurb, and it was very similar to what happened here in Florida. It was to wrap in the Mars sponsorship, so M&Ms would be present. And at Walt Disney World, I absolutely despise what we did to the confectionery. But the Boardwalk Candy Shop at Disneyland Paris, they did a magnificent job. It still feels like it's right out of the early 1900s. They worked in the M&M's branding, but it is time specific to the theme of the land. They just, everything's perfect about it. And so long as as long as we continue to follow the rules and continue to believe in theme and story, I believe no matter what they do on Main Street at Disneyland Paris, we will be okay. Obviously worried the Plaza restaurant there is a beautiful facility. It's gorgeous. I just hope it maintains all of its charm and wonder that it previously had. It's one of my favorite interiors at any Disney park in the world. The largest McDonald's in France is currently being built at Disneyland Paris, but the opening date has been announced. That largest McDonald's will open on February 18th, 2026. You're looking at the concept art now. This is just steps away from the current McDonald's, which will close at some point before then. My theory is it's just going to be the day before. The McDonald's doesn't want to lose a whole day of business. You're now looking at some construction photos I took during our November 2025 visit of that new McDonald's. It lacks the whimsy and the fun of the existing one. I don't feel great about this Disney Village reimagining in Paris. It's very bland, very plain. I get it. The place deteriorated and you had to do something. So at one point, I'm glad on one end, I'm glad the money is being spent. I'm sad the way the money is being spent. But yeah, so if you want to go say goodbye to that weird, wacky, and wonderful existing McDonald's, you've got very limited time to do so. Did you know there's a way you could save big at Disney Deluxe Resorts? Well, today's show is brought to you by DVC Rental Store, a great way for you to plan a luxury Disney vacation on a modest budget. You don't need to sign up for a full DVC contract, but instead, they'll allow you to rent the points you need for a magical stay. It's really the best way to stay deluxe at a fraction of the cost. And now, thanks to their lowest price guaranteed offer, you'll always have the best price on the market. The rooms are discounted up to 75% off at times, and they have the largest member inventory for points, so there's a lot to choose from. You can search their availability for free right now, which is not something all companies offer. And if you do choose to book, they have a great cancellation policy and a low down payment. DVC Rental Store is the #1 DVC rental company in the United States. It's one we used many times before they were even a sponsor, so go check them out in our description. Bluey and Bingo from the hit children's TV show have arrived on the Disney Dream a few weeks ahead of schedule. Disney Cruise Line announced last year that the Healer sisters would be starting to make those appearances on sailing starting in February of 2026. But during a Disney Dream sailing this week, we saw the morning celebration Wakey Wakey with Bluey and Bingo in the D Lounge. With the help of a youth activities crew member, Bluey and Bingo taught kids high-energy dances and games like the magic xylophone to help them wake up. Other Bluey and Bingo offerings include Who's Behind the Curtain, a family game show that ends in a dance party, and Pajama Bash with freeze dancing, interactive games, and special character appearances. Kids will also be able to meet Bluey and Bingo during exclusive activities in Disney's Oceaneer Club and Lab. Bluey and Bingo will also be on select domestic sailings on the Wish starting in June. They make regular appearances on Australian and New Zealand sailings. Those are coming to an end, obviously, anyway, next week. Kudos to our intrepid reporter, Eric Morton, who braved all the children to be the lone man standing in the back of the room filming the Bluey and Bingo offering on the Disney Cruise Line. We got real lucky. Eric had a cruise plan, and just so happened Bluey and Bingo debuted, and I messaged Eric and I go, I have some bad news. You're going to have to cover a children's show. And he did it. He made it happen, though, so thank you, Eric. Select guests sailing with Disney Cruise Line can now view, download, and purchase photos from their cruise following debarkation. For U.S. residents, photos will now be available for 45 days from the day taken, and guests can view and purchase individual photos or packages on the Disney Cruise Line Photos website. The option is only available for sailings that concluded on or after January 21st. Post-cruise photo purchasing will not be available for sailings that end prior to that date. Guests who live outside the U.S. must still purchase their photos pre-cruise or while on board. PhotoPass photographers are available throughout the cruise for character meet and greets, rotational dining experiences, photo backdrops, various ship and island locations, etc. I've always thought it was incredibly weird that I had to make the decision that, maybe it was on purpose. They were like, they put you under pressure. It's like, if you leave the ship and you don't have your photos, you're not getting them. So I always thought that was a little strange, but I think this is better for guests. If people want the photos, they're going to buy them. Don't put people under a gun to buy them right that second. On a recent sailing aboard the Disney Dream, we noticed new railings installed in front of the portholes on Deck 4. We suspect this is in response to the child who fell overboard back in June of 2025. Of course, you remember last summer a child fell overboard while sailing on the Dream. She and her father, who had jumped in the ocean after her, were promptly rescued. Details regarding the incident reveal that the child was sitting on a railing in front of a porthole window and fell backwards. Her mother thought the porthole had a glass barrier similar to the other areas on the ship. The parents are not facing any neglect charges, as it was ruled to be an accident, an isolated incident. The porthole where the child fell from is on Deck 4, also known as the Promenade Deck. There are large porthole windows for guests to view the ocean all along the sides of the ship. On that recent sailing, we noticed new railings had been installed. The new barriers are set about a foot or two away from the portholes, and there's plexiglass below the wood railing. The portholes are still open, though. I'm happy with this fix. It keeps people safe, but at the same time doesn't ruin the view from the ship. So I think a good change. Disney Cruise Line's newest ship, the Disney Adventure, will debut a new fireworks show inspired by The Lion King. It'll be narrated by Shah Rukh Khan. Shah Rukh Khan is known as the King of Bollywood and voiced Mufasa in the Hindi language version of Disney's live-action The Lion King and its sequel, Mufasa. Disney Cruise Line said he will lend his legendary charisma, an unmistakable voice, and storytelling power to the show. Disney Cruise Line is still the only cruise line to offer fireworks at sea, though most of those have been pirate-themed. There's been a couple others through the years. But the Lion King Celebration in the Sky will be wholly unique to the adventure, which is sailing out of Singapore. It'll feature classic songs from The Lion King, including Circle of Life, Hakuna Matata, He Lives in You, and Can You Feel the Love Tonight? The musical score was recorded with the Royal Scottish National Orchestra and features South Africa's youth choir. The Lion King celebration in the sky is a tribute to the power of family and community and perfectly mirrors the magic that those vacationing on board the adventure will experience, said Khan. I can't wait for fans and families to join in this beautiful celebration of the circle of life. The Disney Adventures maiden voyage will depart from Singapore on March 10th, 2026. We will be there. Don't worry, I will get video for all of you of this. I'm excited about Lion King fireworks show at sea. I'm also excited. I'm not a master historian of Disney Cruise Line. I don't know where else they've been able to shoot fireworks from, but in the past, it's only really been on those Caribbean cruises out of Florida. And so this is exciting that they have the ability to do fireworks out there in Singapore as well. It's pretty cool. Tokyo Disney Resort announced a more specific opening time frame for their new Wreck-It Ralph attraction. They originally said it would open in 2026 or later. They have now said Wreck-It Ralph will open in spring of 2027 at Tokyo Disneyland, replacing Buzz Lightyear's Astro Blasters, which closed in October of 2024. The Planet M store adjacent will also be rethemed. Tokyo Disney has still not announced the name of the ride, but guests will team up with Vanellope and Ralph to save the Sugar Rush video game from King Candy. Guests will shoot sugar bugs to turn them back into cute sweets. The building's exterior is being transformed to match the new Tomorrowland aesthetic that was introduced with the Happy Ride with Baymax and the Big Pop. Of course, all this leading up to a brand new Tomorrowland of sorts with the new Space Mountain opening sometime in 2027 as well. Blue Loop, a leading publication for attractions professionals, has recognized 5 Disney Cruise Line and Walt Disney Imagineering experiences in its 2025 Innovation Awards. The accolades were shared on the official Walt Disney Imagineering Instagram. The Haunted Mansion Parlor won first place for retail and dining. For audio animatronics figure, Walt Disney A Magical Life got second place in immersive attraction. Disney Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point got third place for sustainability. Pixar Adventurous Journey at Shanghai Disneyland got third place in immersive experience. And Disney Tale of Moana was third place in storytelling. And all I can tell you is, after the review we gave Disney Tale of Moana, I am going to actively go see the 2 things that placed higher, because that is one of the best shows, if not the best show I've seen in my entire life. And if you think 2 things are better, I'm going to go be the judge of that, Blue Loop. I'm on to you. We're going to go find out. I got to go see these other 2 things. They look cool, though. I looked into them, but I'm going to make those happen. I'm going to go see these other 2 offerings. For the absolute latest on these stories and all that didn't make it into today's show, be sure to check WDWNT.com and follow us on your favorite social media platforms. You can support the entire team behind this show and others by joining the WDWNT Interglobe Society at patreon.com/WDWNT. Get access to exclusive content, discounted show and event tickets, and more. Special shout out to our WIGS members watching who make this show happen every week. For the worldwide leader in Disney Parks news, this is Tom Corliss saying enjoy the rest of your today and have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.